Guys, before you go on to this clip, please don't forget to press the subscribe button for more content like this. We post all our clips on this channel from the podcast. I know you're going to enjoy this quite a lot. One of the things that, to the West's credit, or at least in my exposure to the West's credit, is they understood that before the psychological comes the physiological. If your foundations are set straight in your physiology, if you're healthy in your body in so many ways, your mind is much more, let's say, much more programmed, much more aligned with performing better. So you're much happier as a function of that. And maybe this comes from, my first exposure to nutrition with my roommate, because he was a permanently depressed fellow. And he tried everything until nutrition fixed his depression. Right? And so he was a hardcore nutrition sort of freak because of this reason. He said, listen, I did not know how to be happy. I tried everything until I realized there's something wrong with my gut. And once I started changing some stuff there, I got happier. And I said, listen, man, this sounds very magical. Okay. But when I tried eating a certain way that at least fit me in that time and space, and sometimes even now, like we were just discussing, me and Mehul, I don't eat breakfast because as soon as I eat breakfast myself, I feel like this slump. If I carry on not eating until like 2:30 and I have my first meal, I feel great. And so at least I felt my way through and understood that I don't want to eat my meal before I'm done performing through the day. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. You'll tell me better. But there is something to be said about eating your way to happiness, eating your way to performance, eating your way to even success. And I agree. Look, the ancient Indian understood that beyond all this transactional capitalist world, there is a connection world, there's a vibrational world. I agree. In my teaching this, I've realized that younger folk are much more enticed and much easier taught by telling them, listen, if you do this, you'll be successful. And once they're done with success, they'll have this realization, kuch nahi rakha success mein, uske beyond, there is this whole connection, vibrational stuff. But let's start with the bottom now. Let's start with telling them you'll be happier, you'll be more successful, you'll perform better. What do you think of that?
So, my wife, sometimes when I watch TV and all, she says, you're a very insensitive person. मतलब किसी का खुदकुशी हो गया था, मैंने बोला अरे यार इसका विटामिन बी कॉम्प्लेक्स का डेफिशिएंसी है और ये तो सही नहीं खाया. My wife's like, how can he be so insensitive? He just committed suicide. I'm like, अरे यार, when people are depressed and anxiety, as an Olympic level nutritionist, I can tell you, go and get your gut checked. There was a research done, I don't remember if it is in America or Australia, on prisoners. So there was these two blocks of prisoners, block A, block B. Block A, they measured the violence, the suicidal tendencies, the muggings, the murders and everything within the prison. And in another block, they had the statistics. Now what they did is in block B, they gave them a multivitamin and an omega-3.
That's it.
Only these two things. And the amount of incidences of the murders, aggression and suicidal tendencies in block D just went through the floor. I don't remember the exact statistics. We can find the study and put it up also for our viewers later.
Right.
But when I read that, because I'm constantly reading, because I have these celebrities who come to me and they're like, they're depressed, they're on narcotics, or they're on uppers or downers or whatever, and they're prescription medication, sleep medication. We find out that each one of us are bio-individual, number one. Number two, the food you eat is not scientifically designed. It is out of love and culture. So there is where the first element of mistakes are happening.
Sure.
So please go and figure out your scientific eating. The food we get from the farmer is not nutritionally balanced because the farming techniques over the years was focused on yield-based outcome.
Agreed.
Rather than nutrition density within that crop. Therefore, nutritional deficiencies will exist. For example, there was a paper done on apple's iron content now in this day and age, and apple's content in 1960s had much higher iron content, which is why Dadima and Nanaji had better hemoglobin than us today. So when you start putting this together, I am not going into how your boss has treated you at work, or how your mummy has constantly put you down in your life, or what crap you went through in school because of bullying by your friends. That is environment.
Right.
I am saying you have a genetic makeup that might absorb lesser. Let me give you my personal example. I have a magnesium deficient gene. Do you know if you have magnesium deficiency, first of all, if you work out, you will get cramps.
Okay.
So somebody like me in school who started playing tennis or cricket or hockey, and I'm constantly getting cramps by the time I'm 17, 18, ये तो मेरे लिए नहीं है.
And you were forever done with it.
Done.
Life say done. Huh?
But you didn't know that you have a magnesium deficiency. Second, you're always constipated. Magnesium softens your stool. But you have a gene that doesn't absorb magnesium well, so you're plugged up.
Right.
Third is, people who have higher magnesium have larger brains and therefore more intellectual. Oh. Could India at a certain level of population be nutritionally deficient because हमारा जो pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds का magnesium कम है. The yield is going up.
Yeah.
We're feeding more people.
Right.
But I think if I were to sit with the PMO's office, I would say in the next 50 years, can we improve the nutritional quality index and reduce the chemical exposure on foods? Now, what's going to happen is by defunct, you're going to fortify inadvertently all your foods to a better level. So the next generations, even if they don't do the scientific testing, उनका दाल चावल रोटी थोड़ा सही होता है.
Better होगा.
And then final point is, if you know people, for an example, there was a study done, one was nutrition in the prisons. In Singapore, if I'm not mistaken, they did a study and, sorry, not Singapore, they did a study in Australia. And they found out that exercise is 1.5 times more powerful than medication and counseling for depression. 1.5. I put this post on LinkedIn.
People will lose their mind.
I put this post on LinkedIn and I'll tell you something. Nobody shared it.
Nobody shared it. You got away. Because if you look, we live in times where you cannot sort of speak of the mental health industry in any which way.
No, I'm taking it on. I am taking it on. Listen, it's in your gut. Your gut then makes you feel depressed for 5 to 8 years where you get mentally slapped. Then you start going for counseling. Then you start taking medicines. But your parents need to discover if you have a genetic deficiency for B complex absorption, omega absorption, magnesium absorption, probiotics. Your gut produces. See, before you eat food, beta, the food is eating your food and pooping that food back into your gut, producing the serotonin molecules which are linked to your brain power.
Guys, if you're enjoying the clips that we are putting out on this channel, you can consume all our podcasts in small clips right here. We chunk them together and release them just for your convenience. Do not forget to press the subscribe button.